Here is a majestic poof ball. Please enjoy the video. TIFU By exposing a customer's affair to his wife. Names changed for the sake of the post. So this took place maybe half an hour ago, and to be honest there's still a chance there will be some kickback for this today. I, 25 meters, work in a call center, and am doing so for the duration of this pandemic, while I wait to find out what's happening about going back to university. It's no career, but it's a pretty nice job with some decent people and it's easy. All we do really is facilitate switches for people looking for better deals on household stuff, usually their internet provider or supplier of gas/electricity, etc. We have agents in the field who make sales, then call us for verification with the customer. Simple, right? Not today. See, usually it's company policy not to do callbacks. Nobody wants annoying call center calls, right? So unless the customer specifically requests a scheduled callback, we just don't do them. I had a customer 2 days ago looking for a pretty pricey internet switch, going from some basic setup to a full TV/phone/internet package, the works, all the channels, anytime calls to numbers including international, 500 plus Mbps Wi-Fi, and it came to over £100 a month. I informed the customer, who's an impatient sounding guy, that because of the price increase he'll need to have a quick credit check run on him, and it'll mean the call takes a little longer. The guy gets all pissed about being busy and saying he can't waste all afternoon on the phone to some call center, so would it be alright if I called him after the weekend to go through it then? Seemed straightforward enough. This is pretty common. People are always up for the sale until they realize they'll need to spend more than one whole minute on the phone. But I scheduled the call anyway and asked if there was a specific time he wanted me to call. He says any time is fine and follows with, if Emily answers, just ask her for me. She'll make sure I get the phone, and gave me a home phone number. Fast forward to today and I make a grave error. See, the application I had from the customer had his home phone number already filled in, which it turns out was not the same number he'd given me for today's call back. I called the number one thought was correct, and a woman answers. I say without thinking, "Oh hi, I'm calling for Steve to confirm his broadband switch. We spoke the other day. You must be Emily." Cue uncomfortable pause. She says this is Steve's wife, Amanda. What do you mean I must be Emily? I apologized and said I'm so sorry. When I spoke to him the other day he said if an Emily answered to just ask for Steve. And she just goes I ducking knew it, and slammed the phone down. After checking the application against the post-it note I'd jotted some info down on the other day, I realized Steve must have given me the number for where he was going to be today, and I'd instead called his unsuspecting wife at home. Nobody's called into my workplace yet, but if they do I don't think they'll be happy. TLDR customer gave me a different number to his own for a callback, and I accidentally called his wife and revealed his infidelity. Update. Well duck, angry Steve just called my workplace and has achieved nothing but making himself look like an ever bigger ducking dipshit than he already has. Also for the record, Steve was always a dick who can die in a hole and deserves all he gets. The reason for the TIFU was because I was worried about my job, so I haven't worked here very long and I'm still learning things about company policy, and it turns out that when an application is put through by an agent, it must be the applicant's own details, according to what they provide the agent. So I was only technically allowed to call the wife anyway, not Emily's home number as he gave me. If he'd wanted the call to a different number, he would have had to have a new application submitted with revised details. It wasn't enough to just give me a different number over the phone. So my job is safe. Phew. However, my manager isn't happy and I'm getting a write-up, but I can live with that. They don't mean much and I've never had one till now, always on time, and have taken overtime voluntarily, etc. Anyways, this guy phones up and before saying anything else, leads the call with one of my colleagues, who by the way, is a teenage girl in what I think is her first job, and he says, "Put me on with the little ducking cunt who thought it would be funny to call my wife earlier after I explicitly told him not to." Obviously the poor girl was confused and looked about to ask the room for a manager ASAP. I immediately piped up and said, "Is it Mr. X from insert location?" And she confirmed, so I got her to transfer the call to my desk as soon as possible. Steve comes on the line and goes, "I bet you think you're well ducking funny, you little prick. Put your manager on the phone and see if you're so smart when you lose your job. So in my most sarcastic, overcompensating cute as phone voice ever, I just say, of course sir, let me just transfer you to someone who can help, then put him on hold for 20 minutes hoping it would wind him up even more, while I found my manager and told him about the whole situation. He explained what I'd said above, that I wasn't technically in the wrong from a legal standpoint, and then my poor team leader had to quickly explain to Steve that he didn't have a legal claim, but that we are sorry for the distress caused. Sucky, I know, but it's a business after all. And now hopefully Steve's evening culminates in his entire life being ruined. I got a disciplinary write-up for it, but it's over now. Sorry for the wall of text, but thanks for the awards. TIFU, I accidentally revealed my boyfriend's mom's infidelity. Obligatory, this story actually happened about a year ago. I, 18F at the time, was dating a boy named Jacob, 18 meters at the time. His father, early 60s, was a mechanic, and his mom, mid 50s, was a stay-at-home mom. They were a pretty typical white suburban family in the south, and had asked Jacob if they could meet me, even though we had only been dating for a month. At the dinner, I met his mom, dad, older brother, older sister, and her newborn daughter. The dinner went well, and I was chatting about my volunteer work at my college's blood drive, to which his father explains that his doctor told him he was O negative and a universal blood donor. My boyfriend mentions he is also O, but his siblings casually mention they are both AB. I don't think anything of it, because my BF had mentioned that his mom was married once before and was widowed. The following conversation went like this. Me, oh that's really cool. You're a really rare blood type. If you don't mind me asking, is your mom's blood type A and your dad's B, or your dad's A and mom's B? OS, older sister, what do you mean? He's O, gesturing to my BF's father. Me, oh I know. I was just asking about your BO father, but of course, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. I notice his mom get really pale, and it was in that moment I realized I ducked up. OB, older brother, what do you mean BO father? Me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything by it. Jacob's dad got real quiet and looking at his wife's face. He knew instantly. I look over to Jacob, who I think was starting to put the full picture of what was happening together. Jacob's dad, are you saying they are not my biological kids? Because my wife swore up and down in marriage counseling. By marriage counseling they mean with a pastor that they were my kids and she would never cheat on me. Yeah, turns out she never had any kids from her previous marriage. Jacob's mom, I would never cheat on you. OS and OB are your kids. Jacob's dad, OP, why do you think they are not my kids? I tried to excuse myself because it was very clear the cat was out of the bag, and with a quick Google search from my boyfriend he starts cussing out his mom. She starts to sob and apologizes over and over again. And I'm forced to explain 9th grade biology to his father about the fact that the only kids he could have produced were with the blood type O or B, but absolutely not AB. Jacob was the only one with the possibility of being his son. They all start screaming at one another. OS eventually leaves because her newborn is screaming too. His mom does and locks herself in the bedroom. His older brother follows her screaming, asking who his real father is. My boyfriend is trying to figure out if his dad still wants to be their father. I eventually have a friend come pick me up. Yeah, we broke up shortly after, but not after figuring out that none of the kids produced from the marriage were his. Edit, they found out via paternity tests for sure weren't his kids, and they divorced soon after. TLDR, I accidentally revealed that my boyfriend's mom was unfaithful by pointing out the fact that his older siblings who both had the blood type AB could not have been biologically related to their O negative father. Edit, for those asking how they knew their blood types, Jacob donated blood for the blood drive at our school. His sister just had a baby, so she was probably informed during pregnancy. Jacob's dad was told by his doctor for probably underlying medical reasons I don't know. I wasn't ever really close to his family after that for obvious reasons, and I don't know how his brother knew. That's an amazing life experience. Not many people get to be the catalyst for a family disintegrating by holding an impromptu high school science lecture. Dope. This is exactly why our bio class stopped having the students compare their blood to their parents' blood for labs. Apparently there was always one kid every year who was not biologically connected to the dad. I wonder how many people will actually see a family implode. You had a front row seat. What do you mean front row seat? This lucky/unlucky snoffer bitch was driving. Steered headfirst into the family, then got out of the car and run away unscathed.